kind of seeing it all come together.
Lane and Wynn does the honors. We're underway here in Coralville. Loyola Chicago, a team again off to a 2-3 start. The Hawkeyes take the first point, just escapes the reach of Wynn and the kill for the Hawks. But we mentioned a little bit of the youthful nature of this Loyola Chicago team. Number 17, Lane and Wynn, who just served it up to begin. She is a freshman and one of their starring pieces, first on the team in kills. As Loyola Chicago responds back, that's Caitlin Burke with the kill. So yes, Burke, sophomore, Lane and Wynn, freshman, and the Hawkeyes counter with some serious talent, some serious experience. We get another look at the replay.
And you look at them trying to go into the middle, and that's both teams are going to try and do that. They're trying to, here in this first set, kind of collapse the defense into the middle, so then once you get to those big points at the end of this one and we get deeper into this match, these sides are going to open up and they can start to get more creative.
Here's Jamie Markwartz, sophomore libero, serving it for, or can play libero, serving it for the Hawkeyes. And that'll be an ace. So Markwart with a nice start. Right now, Milana Moisio is the libero for the Hawks, and Sam Falk, the libero for Loyola Chicago. Both really talented players. A little touch over, and the Hawks keep it alive, but Justice keeps the reach of Ammeraal.
That's Alyssa Warden right there making the diving play. We saw that a lot by the end of the year last year, and she is just a great story. Poor ACL in freshman year. She couldn't walk for a couple of months. I mean, it was a bad tear. And then she comes back, works her way into the lineup last season, and she started being that star player for the Hawks down the stretch. As they're getting a little run going now.
Hawks out to the early 4-2 advantage here. And the Hawkeyes team 5-0 to begin the year. They swept the Rebel Challenge last weekend, and reasons like that, the power of Iowa really coming through. Loyola Chicago is on the attack here. Hawkeyes stave it off for now, and it will be a point for Iowa.
Yeah, that ball did not quite hit over the net. Hit right on that Iowa volleyball logo along the top. But even if it did, I mean, the Hawks had Whittingstall and Ammeraal right there.
Here's the attack for Van Zandt. Van Zandt again, she's got it. Sharday Van Zandt, Houston, Tennessee native, a Chattanooga transfer.
Now, one of these transfers that has started making a big impact. I mean, head coach Jim Barnes was going to work in the offseason. They needed an outside hitter, and that is what they got from Van Zandt.
There's a service ace from Alyssa Warden, who had a career game on Thursday. David, fine with you as we get it going again. Joel, huge win for the Hawkeyes yesterday against Illinois State, a 3-0 sweep of the Redbirds. Now looking to continue here against the Ramblers coming out of Loyola Chicago. So what did you take away from yesterday's match? A lot of players we could highlight in particular.
Yeah, no, they were dominant yesterday. I mean, the first two sets weren't really close by the end of it. That last one, going a couple extra points to get it done, but 27-25 victory to secure the sweep. They were good, and they were doing exactly what they needed to do today. They were just laying it in the middle to start it out, and then it allowed the offense to kind of spread around, and they had a lot of room to work with by the end of it. But it's just a Hawkeye team that's been doing what they need to do this season, what they were built to do, and let's lean on those outside hitters. Allow Ammeraal to just set them up every time and just let their offense work.
It was just Claire Ammeraal who got her first kill of the game, inked it over the Loyola Chicago front line. This one's hit more towards the back line diagonally, and it's out again. Point for the Iowa Hawkeyes, who are looking to go up 10-3. And serving Hannah Whittingstall, second on the team in kills, first on blocks, the 6'2" junior middle hitter.
She's been phenomenal. Transfer from SMU.
Nguyen with an absolute rocket, and that one goes all the way out the other way. Point for Loyola Chicago. Lena Nguyen, welcome to Extreme Arena on this Saturday. That was a bomb.
Yeah, and she just had one that went out. She knew she has that zone back there, and she hit it that time.
And there's a service ace for Sam Falk. Catches the Hawkeyes in the middle of the court. Falk increasing her team ace lead to 14. And here she is again. Ammeraal is denied. Big block in front. Anne-Marie Remis.
Remis is one of those players from last year's team that is returned, one of the few that made a big impact last year, and she's going to be the heart and soul of this Rambler team all season long.
Yeah, she was second on the team in kills last year at just over 250. Second team, all Atlantic 10. Push to the back line. Fitting, keeps it alive for Nguyen. Van Zandt. Denied by Falk.
Rambler's doing a good job keeping that ball up.
That one hit a little bit long by Nguyen. Or, beg your pardon, that one did catch in. I think they're going to maybe think about challenging this. Let's get another look at the replay.
Yeah,
It did land in. Jim Barnes with the green card in his hand, and well, let's see. I think he is challenging.
Here we go, let's take a look.
Challenging that there was no touch. And based off of Claire Ammeral's positive reaction, she at least believes she did not touch it.
Yeah, I mean, these players are really good at acting. I mean, it's not like football, right? Where you can kind of hide your facial expression, but you know, a lot of time, like these players, they have a lot of experience now with the replay system that's been in place for a couple of years now, and they know how to sell it. But I mean, like usual, both teams are gonna think the other one goes the other way. But the Ramblers, I mean, they've done a good job keeping this one in check. And not letting the Hawkeyes take that fast start and kind of run with this set. They're coming back, they're battling, and the last couple of points have kind of showed that. You got Nguyen making some big hits, but all those players in the backcourt making some good plays.
I don't know on this one. It's definitely out. That's not what the review is. We'll take a listen in. No touch. Point Iowa, so that denies what would have been a 4-point run for Loyola Chicago. And hey, I know we were talking about a player maybe selling it here or there, like selling the reaction. Claire Ammeral's reaction was 100% positive. I did not touch that one. So that makes a lot of sense that her reaction was what ended up being it, as they had ruled initially that it had touched Ammeral, and now she'll serve. One of the stars for Iowa. Smile on her face after the review was announced to be in the Hawkeyes' favor. 10-6 Iowa here in the first set. Here's Ammeraal. Trying to get Nguyen. No initially. Block from Stojanovic. Nguyen. That one is out.
This Hawkeye front is just impenetrable. I mean, that is a wall right there, and they aren't letting anything by right now. And Nguyen probably just getting a little frustrated and letting that one go loose is why she hit it so far.
Just sneaks by the reach of Varis, and then Moisio diving, trying to stave it off. Point though, Loyola Chicago. Getting a look there at Amanda Berkeley in her 8th year. Head coach for the Ramblers.
She's the longest tenured head coach here at the Quick Start Classic. And she's been quite successful with this Rambler program.
Couple appearances in the NCAA tournament. That one's in for the Hawks. Ricocheted at the net, and it falls in just in front of the back line. Stojanovic.
Yeah, what a beautiful ball here. You know, a lot of times they're not looking to find the floor necessarily when they're hitting it. Stojanovic is looking to have it deflect off the hands and bounce somewhere erratically, and that one right into the open floor.
And we'll continue on here, a discussion between the ref and Berkeley. Well, we will roll along with Sharday Van Zandt on the serve, and the Hawkeyes trying to go back up by 6 for the second time this set. Nguyen doesn't have much of a play there. Here's Moisio and Varis. The Estonian cranks it down. Hawkeyes establish a 6-point advantage.
Yeah, it's a big play for Vares, and you see him kind of just working into getting it Ammeral's hands. And I mean a big play there, big hit. You get it set up perfectly. I mean, she's got to come through, and Vares right over the defense.
Anne-Marie Remis kills for Loyola Chicago, and the Ramblers are back on serve. That one did tool off of a player in front. Worden at net front.
And that's exactly what they're trying to do there. The Hawkeyes, you saw them kind of squeeze toward the middle. That's why a lot of teams start out just pounding it in the middle no matter what. Then players gradually shift over.
Varis with some trickery. So impressive, the freshman early on. Oh, that one catches the back line. A big kill for Alyssa Worden. Wow.
I mean, she can do it all. We saw her diving earlier in this game, had a couple of good serves. What a spike. Gets that thing to break down and drop right in front of the back line.
Here's Moisio. And a point for Loyola Chicago. Hawks getting a touch confused. I think a double touch was what it has been ruled as. Happened quick.
And Jim Barnes is a little confused too as well.
Just off our camera, they showed the referee signaling to Jim Barnes that it hit this sort of like the rib cage and the hand of the Hawk at the same time, which is why Ramblers ended up with the point, trying to make it a 4-point first set again. And a Whittingstall's block goes a little bit west.
And her hands, when she went up, it was a little angled outside. She's really got to flatten that out and make sure that ball's going to drop off of her hands straight down when she's up on that, by the out of bounds line.
Varis off the head. And that's a point 99 times out of 100. And some laughter from Loyola Chicago. That one went right off the head of the Rambler in front. I think it caught number 15, DeBleek, in a bleak position.
Vares has looked really, really, really good here to start. I mean, she is making great contact on all these balls. They're flying off of her hand, and it's really been giving the Hawkeyes some punch there.
The front line of Whittingstall. She has a few blocks early on and gets the kill on top of it. Puts that one right down to open area like an expert. Anna Whittingstall, the junior.
Yeah, and we saw a lot of that last year. 114 blocks last year, and she's off to a great start this season. I mean, she really asserted herself in that middle defensive position last season. She's carrying it through this year.
16-11 advantage for the Iowa Hawkeyes. Getting another look at this replay.
She just had the Hawks fooled. Everyone's moving to the left side of the court. That ball is going over to the right. Iowa not able to recover in time.
Hit it from the outside to the middle, and it'll catch the floor at Extreme Arena. Point for Loyola Chicago. And that was number 9, Caitlin Burke, the outside hitter.
Some big points for the Ramblers with no win off on the sideline, getting a little rest. You know, you take one of your top hitters off the court, you really hope they can keep it moving on. And that's what they've done so far. An injury timeout here for the Hawks.
And perhaps, I think Moisio is going to tough it out, which is great news for the libero. Yeah, just kind of trying to extend that knee, make sure it's good, and she is just fine, thankfully. So Ava Hunter on serve for the Ramblers. And that one is way long.
Big out there. Moisio, when she comes in, first year at the Hawks, came from Miami. When she originally came, Jim Barnes said she plays with just outstanding toughness. And I think we're seeing it right now. She gets a little banged up. Could easily take a point or two off, but no, she's out there fighting through it. You see her kind of nursing that leg a little bit during this point.
And to get back to sort of that point, you mentioned the toughness and not wanting to sit out. I think that's a bigger point of some of the players that Jim Barnes has brought in. Milana Moisio, transfer to Miami. They made the NCAA tournament all 3 years. There's something to be said about bringing proven winners from other programs who may have been a little bit overlooked at times to this Iowa team and bringing that winning culture in as well as the Hawkeyes look to go again 6-0 today to increase their best, to match their best start ever. It'll be Loyola Chicago point. And Jay Fitting will sub in and serve.
Yeah, and I mean, that's been kind of the big thing Barnes has been doing. He brought Whittingstall in last year. She had NCAA tournament experience. I mean, the one way you can build this program is to bring some leaders in while you're trying to rebuild, and that's what he's done. But the Ramblers, they're looking to stay alive here. You know, the Hawkeyes keeps pulling away. It's kind of like a rubber band. The Ramblers are staying right behind, just stretching and coming right back.
Caitlin Burke already has 5 kills, number 9 for Loyola Chicago. Carmel Varis leading the way with 3 for Iowa. Perhaps a ricochet. It'll be initially a point for Loyola, and I think Jim Barnes will allow that to sit as such. Still a 3-point lead for Iowa here in set number 1 at Extreme Arena. Beautiful facility. Home to Hawkeye volleyball since it opened during the pandemic in 2020. Sharday Van Zandt absolutely just demolished that one, put it right down for the kill, and the Hawkeyes, an important point, back up by 4, looking to hit the 20 mark for the first time in this first set on serve.
Yeah, Van Zandt has been a big acquisition for the Hawkeyes. They lost a couple outside hitters last year, and they really needed someone to be that big hitter, and she has stepped into that role nicely.
That one sails to the back line, to the first row.
I would originally think, I mean, you look back even to that Nebraska game that sticks out. They got swept in that, but they kept those sets a lot closer than they should have and would have been than in the previous years. Like, this is a team that he has built of competitors. They want to come out and they want to win. They need to win.
It's interesting, too, right before we went on the air, was chatting with the radio voice for Hawkeye Volleyball, John Evans, and he said he believes that, of course, John's watched every volleyball match under the tenure of Jim Barnes. He said that the players that are here right now bought in, and he feels like are going to be competitive this year, which is a great sign for Hawkeye Volleyball in the Big Ten, competitive in the Big Ten, stealing some matches, and not only that, maybe having better talent than some opponents, which is something that's an excellent sign for the Hawkeyes as they continue to build. And now they'll try to get the points back there, going their way. A few-point run here for Loyola, 3 in a row out of the timeout.
Yeah, I mean, these are the sets that really test what your team is made of right here. They have the lead all this first set. And now they're kind of losing it. It's 2019 now. The Hawks have really had a tough time up at the front. Ramblers do it. And then they take that momentum into the tournament, win the first round, losing the second. But, I mean, what a team. And to get this team to that point, I mean, for Berkeley, that is just an outstanding accomplishment. And you know she's not settling yet. I mean, she has these Ramblers within 1 on the Hawkeyes right now. And they're looking to stretch this thing. I mean, Iowa's looked nearly unbeatable. I mean, they have been unbeatable, but I mean, they have played almost perfect volleyball all weekend long, and Berkeley's trying to stop it.
A little bit of a delay here. It was just a Stojanovic kill. And a substitute, and now it'll be Iverson-Ammeraal on serve. Well, yeah, Loyola Chicago did lose a good amount of talent from last year. Marta Savitikovic, Bree Borum among their stars offensively and defensively. And the Hawkeyes get it going again. 2 points in a row after Loyola had 5 in a row. Let's watch the replay, and it was Sharday Van Zandt.
I mean, this front is so deep. There's so many athletes that can play up there. Even when Ammeraal, one of their star players up in the front is serving, they're able to get the job done.
Nguyen with fresh legs and a huge pop back to the back right corner line. Loyola Chicago with a chance to equal here in the first set.
Couple of big serves here for the Ramblers. I get it started well.
Van Zandt is undeniable on those diagonal long hits. She has hit the back right line just a handful of times, but it's becoming a major storyline. That one more in the middle.
Yeah,
wow.
She's been amazing. 3 kills today, and I mean, this is the type of player that the Hawkeyes have been missing for a couple of years now, that left outside hitter who can really just dominate.
And when stoned on her attempted kill, Alyssa Worden, a little less power, a little more accuracy. Nguyen with a little of both. Still alive here. Van Zandt went down. Worden forced to pop it back over to the middle of the court. And Remis slams that one. Got 10 feet past the net.
Well, that's the job of Remis. I mean, as the biggest returner, the best returner from that tournament team last year, she's got to take control in these moments when the set's on the line, when it's in the 20s. It's got to be all coming from Remis.
Lane and a win. A little too strong for Ammeraal at the net. Just went past her grasp, and then it was finished off by Loyola Chicago again, and Remis ties it up at 23 apiece. Loyola Chicago's resilience has been a storyline. They've been down by 5 and 6 at
court by any means, but she's got some hops. I mean, she gets up there, and when she lays into it, that ball is going so fast you can hardly see it. It's a blink of an eye, and it's right on the ground.
Worden, 23 apiece here, big point. Ammeral's assist to Varis, it's still alive. Wow. Worden and hit the ref on the back line. And Loyola Chicago coming back out of nowhere with a chance to take set number 1.
I mean, what a pancake by Sam Falk. I mean, that was quite phenomenal. Got Jim Barnes talking to the ref. Timeout, but challenge
yeah.
there.
Took out the green card.
I mean, that was a heck of an effort there.
So, Iowa's challenging if a hit was unsuccessful. I wonder if it was the one where Loyola kept it alive in the middle of that point, where we were talking about, another assist for Claire Ammeraal, and all of a sudden it was still alive. Yeah. So that happened like 10 seconds at least before the point had officially ended.
And when that happened, I mean, the entire Iowa bench was pointing down. Oh, it hit. But, I mean, from the ref's angle, you thought it was up. Let's take a look here.
That was later in the point as it came to an end. It was quite a little bit before that. Easy to get confused. But let's see what the ref will establish here. Our officials. Point for Loyola. Wow, what a dig there. It was right here. Great job by our crew getting it. And Sam Falk by a fingernail. Wow.
That is just perfect. You know, those pancakes, you drive them down on the floor, you keep it flat, and you just allow the floor to bounce it up, basically. Your hand's just there to keep it alive. And now we've got a great set here. Big point for the Hawks.
And the Hawkeyes have finished off set 1, 25-23. Carmel Varis coming back in after the football game. Watching that, it ended right about the time we got going here. Cy-Hawk game. And Loyola will start with the first point.
Yeah.
That is number 4, or make that, yes, Falk gets the setup to, I think, Burke there on the outside. Anyway, it'll be Burke to serve it up.
All those Hawkeye fans hoping for a victory in this one to kind of lift their spirits, and Hawkeyes got them started off right. And the Ramblers need to get off to the start. They need to get a bit of a lead here early is going to be their key. Iowa responds. They've been so good attacking. I mean, they're so efficient. You don't see a lot of rallies where they're hitting the ball well and they're kind of controlling the rally last too long.
Here's Moisio. Good positioning on the serve, a joust, and a point for Loyola Chicago. Ava Hunter, the freshman, stepping up.
She's one of the 4 newcomers to this Ramblers team. Big part of the future core is the hope for Berkeley's squad. Right there, making it really awkward for Whittingstall in the middle. She thought it was going to go up higher, had to drop her hand and put it right into the net.
Whittingstall trying to respond. A little bit east of her hand. Then she gets the big block, and it's a point for Iowa. That's a Hannah Whittingstall point all around.
That's her specialty right there. I mean, we've seen it last year. We've seen it this year. She is so good at finding that ball and just dropping it in the perfect spot so that those blocks end up in points.
Marquardt serving. Long.
That's something the Hawkeyes, I think, are still kind of figuring out. I mean, last year their serving wasn't by any means their strong suit. This year, they haven't quite hit it yet. They haven't quite found it. They're averaging 1.12 aces per set, a little lower than where they want to be. And I think that's how they kind of make that next step here throughout this season is you got to improve upon that and then even build onto that next year.
Ellie Stepanitis just finished off that point. Now she'll sub out for Sharday Van Zant, who's now playing for her 4th different college. She started in JUCO at Blinn College, then to Louisiana Tech, then to Chattanooga last year, and now in Iowa.
She slowly worked her way up through the ranks.
And no kidding, great point. And there's Van Zant flexing on him at the net. A huge block for Sharday Van Zant, who is having herself a heck of a match so far. 2 digs, block, 3 kills. That should go down as her 2nd block of the match.
Yeah, you talk about these players being bought in this season, and Van Daan definitely is. I mean, you see her play with just such passion, and after every point, she's smiling, having a good time. She wants to be here. She wants to win.
Loyola Chicago continuing to respond here early in set number 1. Again, visitors out of the Atlantic 10. And we'll chalk up the point there. Avery DeBleek factoring in. Here's Sam Falk. Strong serve game for the libero. Whittingstall blocked out the net.
Seemed like Whittingstall, Ammeraal, and Warden were all kind of standing around wondering, all right, whose ball is this? And Warden decided she'll attack it, but it was a little too late to make a play. She's got to be a little more decisive up there, communicate a little better up in the front.
Falk put well too much power on that one. Hawks are back on serve, allowing it to sail into the first row of seats.
Yeah, that one wasn't too close, and that's huge for the Hawkeyes, but if you're the Ramblers, you just get that point back, and you really want to start building on it, at least give yourself a chance. It's got to be in. Oh, what a hit.
Claire Ammeraal has a huge smile on her face, and for good reason. If you step in front of that one, you'll have a bruise or two. Claire Ammeraal, wow, with the kill.
Just reaches all the way back and unleashes on that ball. Just amazing.
She's already up to 12 assists as well, after she had 24 yesterday.
She truly does it all up there in the front.
Hawkeyes are 5-0 for the first time in 10 seasons. Looking to go to 6-0, which would be their best start. Another point for Iowa. And not only match their best start in team history, first time they win today, they'd be 6-0 since 2009. That year they beat Loyola Chicago to open the season.
Wow.
Only other times Iowa started 6-0. So 2009, and then you got to go all the way back to 1988 and 1978.
That's a little past my time, I would say.
Before your time.
Way before.
Way before. It's more in the realm of my time than I care to admit, honestly. though a few years before, at least the 1988 part of it.
There you go. I mean, there's a reason, though. I mean, you've seen it this set. They have done such a good job at staying comfortable even when things don't quite go their way to start the point. They kind of play out of position, but they're able to make it work. That time, the Ramblers had them trapped in the corner, and they did a really good job keeping that ball out of their side.
Seen Kate Naley get a good run at serve, but Stojanovic captures another point for Iowa. 9-6 is your score here in the second set. Iowa won the first set by 2 points, 25-23. Hawkeyes had led by 5 and 6 a handful of times. Loyola Chicago had the late run, then a challenge by Jim Barnes proved fruitful there near the end of set 1. And another point for Iowa off the serve here. So Iowa hits 10 hits 10 again before Loyola Chicago does. Similar score to what we had in the first set. Here's Ammeraal serving it up, trying for another 5-point advantage. Remis providing pop here in set number 2. Off a hand in front.
They needed that. They needed that one. Shut down this Iowa run. Perfect hit there. You're aiming for that outside hand to try and have it deflect, and she did exactly that.
Here's Lena Nguyen. Low serve from Nguyen, but it leads to Varis. And a point for the Ramblers. Block in front.
It's a Hawkeye point there,
actually.
It bounced off her hand and went out of bounds. And it just
catch there.
barely, it barely got over the net. I mean, the bottom of the ball definitely hit the bottom of the net, but it did get over. It was a really close play at the net. I mean, that's kind of the fun of volleyball, I think. It's when two players meet right on top of it, which way does it go?
Loyola using Claire Vandenherrick for the first time, Prospect Heights, Illinois native. Loyola Chicago, their main gunners get a lot of run, their main outside hitters and such, middle blockers. They've expanded the use of some of their players today. Kate Naley getting a good run so far, number 7, and now with Vandenherrick coming in. And it's been fruitful for Loyola Chicago. They've kept it close using an assortment of players. Here's Caitlin Burke, one of their regulars, outside hitter, 5'11" sophomore.
Yeah, good spot. Right in front of the Hawkeyes, Libero and Muezio.
Ammeraal on a tee, and that is a point for Stojanovic and the Hawkeyes. Nothing you can do if you're the Ramblers, expanding back to a 3-point edge for Iowa.
Stojanovic has been phenomenal so far, especially in this set. I mean, she has provided a big spark off the bench for the Hawkeyes. And she meshes well with this team, with Ammeraal. And she didn't play much last year, but they must have practiced a ton because that chemistry is there. They work very well up front.
Wow, what terrific defense there from Iowa. Claire Ammeraal with her right hand sneaks it down, keeps it alive, and then it's pounded through a block. Varis again. Carmel Varis. Baltic State mania today. She has been fantastic. Again from Estonia, just a freshman. Number 15 for Iowa.
She does a good job finding her spots. She hits with a pretty good amount of power, but I think the biggest part of her game, at least today, has just been finding how to split the defense. And she's done that so well.
Morris that time didn't have an angle. Ramblers are fired up. Some of their frontliners there, including Avery DeBleek, places it right down in front. And actually that was Burke who will get the block. 13-11 Iowa here in set 2. Moisio And another block. Melee.
That is a momentum swinger. You get those back-to-back blocks. Starts to maybe get in the heads of the Hawkeye front there. And it's just such a big swing when you can get that block on a hard hit like the Hawkeyes have had. They haven't had necessarily bad hits these last two. They're connecting pretty well with that one. She angled it a little low, but they have been hitting the ball hard and not really missing too much. The Ramblers there to shut it down time and time again, and here we are tied.
Caitlin Burke stonewalls that one. That's 3 block wins in a row. Wow. Sam Falk for Loyola Chicago has been one of the major stars for this Ramblers team, leading the team in digs on the season. The libero, number 4, a sophomore from Chicago, Illinois, staying in her home city.
She's brought a lot of experience from last year. It's her and Remus, and she has been phenomenal. I mean, last season you saw her kind of work into that libero role, and by the second half of the season it was hers. She had 10 or more digs in the last 13 matches. Big reason why they went on that run to end the year, and that's something that they're going to look from her even more this season. With that extra year of experience under her belt, she's got to be one of the leaders once they get into conference play.
Shorty has 9 in set 2. Hawkeyes make quick work of Loyola's first lead. Erase it back to a tie, 14 all. Again, giving you some of the storylines of the runs. In the first half, it was 9-3 at one point for Iowa, 25-20. Loyola came back, made it 23 all, or 20-15, I should say. Then it was 23 all. Iowa won the first set. Now again, a couple 3 and 4 point leads for Iowa. Loyola Chicago just had their first lead. And on serve here for the Hawkeyes is number 11, Jenna Meitzler. Received by the Ramblers, and the Hawkeyes put it away.
That's a big win there for the Hawkeyes. They don't have too many starters out there on the court. They've got to grab a couple of these points though, and give those star players a bit of a rest. And that was a great play there to keep it going. Ramblers get it right back.
The service error.
Yeah, those serves. It's gonna be something the Hawkeyes have got to figure out. Yeah, that's I said that earlier. That's how they make the next step. And even in today, this is how they kind of gain control of this game. They can get a rally going, get some good serves to help them out.
Haley tried for perfect placement. Hawkeyes on the attack with Deary. Moisio by the stretch of her fingertips, but it's not enough. And the Ramblers are back with a slight edge, 16-15 here in set 2. Another look at the replay, and that was DeBleek powering it through some hands. And a winning stall. Yes! Winning stall.
That one hanging up on the hands of Hunter just a little bit. Kind of rolled down her fingertips and made that ball not really pump out with enough juice to allow a Rambler to get underneath it and keep that point going. Big get for the Hawkeyes. The Ramblers, they've been taking control at the end of these sets. It seems like they've got the most energy at the end. The Hawkeyes in that first set as well has kind of sputtered out there at the end.
Back and forth we go. Lena and Nguyen. Avery DeBleek subbing out. She's had a good match. Another look at the replay, and Nguyen. Dink.
Yeah, great decision. Don't need to hit it when you have all that space in the middle.
Warden receives. Van Zant's had a great match. Charday Van Zant. No way to hit that one back over.
That's a competitor right there. Van Dant is making those winning plays that the Hawkeyes need. It's something that Iowa has kind of missed in past years. Who's the player when it gets down in crunch time can make that play consistently? The moment never phases her, and she's showing that.
Van Zant almost had the successful block. It's an 18-17 advantage for the visitors from Atlantic 10, Loyola Chicago, Kate Naley, count the point. But it'll be right back on a long serve. So we're just going back and forth here. We've been kind of sitting between, from 10 on, it's been no more than just a 1 or 2 point lead for either squad.
Yeah, it's been a true battle, and the reason why it's going back and forth so much, you got to go back to it, is the serves, especially in this set. It's been quite apparent. When one of these teams feels that energy, gets that momentum behind them, they kind of just lose it. They get caught up in the moment a little bit, at least those servers do, and they've been hitting it not just a little out. I mean, this is like 10 feet, 15 feet out of bounds.
Morris comes in. As does Claire Amaral. Gabby Deary will check out, and Meitzler will as well. So here's Claire Amaral. Haven't called her name in just a little bit. She subs back in as 15 assists, 3 kills. Blocked by Worden, and Van Zant's kill. She's a killer today. Sade Van Zant. Electrifying Coralville, Iowa.
Just dominant, and you see that set up perfectly.
Wow,
Van
that caught
Zant,
the line.
yeah, she's placing it right where no one can get it.
Just around the arms of Van Zant. She's on fire here. So is Varus. Another point for Iowa. Hawkeyes back up by multiple points. 20-18. Timeout. Ramblers.
Dude, what a huge possession right there. That feels like a big one. What a spike. I mean, that is just great work. Great job by Morzio keeping that ball alive as well. Hawkeyes, that 2-point lead.
We'll be right back on Big Ten Plus. Hawkeyes have hit 20. 20-18 here in set 2. And Joel Keller, this David Fine with you. Hawkeyes looking to take a 2-0 lead. Carmel Varus, big reason why she's leading the way with 8 kills.
Varus has been exceptional, and there's a lot of newcomers on this Hawkeye squad that have really helped turn this team around this season. That's why they're off to such a great start. Same case as last year. All the newcomers last year really pushed this team forward, and that's how you get a program to build. Each year, you got to be successful with the new people in your program, not just talent-wise, but they got to fit the culture. They got to build it up. They got to make it a winning place, a place where you know how to win, and that's exactly who these players are.
Lena Nguyen demolishes it through a hand, goes straight down to the ground. Back to a 1-point game here in set 2. Yeah, that one was a strong attempted block by Stojanovic, but Nguyen now serving. 6 kills for Nguyen, and now she'll tie it up.
That was a beautiful serve. Not a lot of spin on it, barely any, and that makes it so hard to judge where it's coming. And that's big reason for the error there, and that's exactly what Nguyen wants to replicate here.
An error of her own, point for Iowa. Well, those 2 points are kind of emblematic of how back and forth it's been at times. First the ace, then the service error.
Yeah, it seems like this set, neither team can really get on that run of consistent, clean play. A lot of errors being made once they get something going.
It's made for fun volleyball in the booth.
It certainly has.
Ammeraal. Stojanovic is denied. A joust. Falk. Burke. Boise, oh wow. What a point here. Swung wide.
Stepanidis really wanted that one after Ammeraal set it up for just overswing on that and kind of pushed it out to the left.
And Barron will check in for Sharday Van Zandt. I wonder if get Barron in for a couple points and then might go right back to someone on the bench. Barron contributing strongly here as well. 21 all. Another great set here in Coralville. Varis is absolutely inevitable this match. Wow. 9th kill for Carmel Varis.
I believe that makes 5 in the second set. I mean, she has been key so far in the second one to kind of keep this thing back and forth. I mean, the Hawkeyes have been in that zone where they almost give it up to the Ramblers a couple of times, but they're able to recover.
Ammeraal. Oh, it rolls on the net.
Little home roll for the Hawkeyes.
One time a visitor's touch.
Again, a good job for the Ramblers finding the side of the hands of Whittingstall. You know, it's all about that precision, and it drops just on the Hawkeye side of the net. 22-22, set number 2. A lot of twos.
Varis is a killer. Carmel Varis, that was not very friendly. 23-22 Hawkeyes.
Feels like any time we get into this tie game, it's Vares making the play, and she is just reeling back and using all of her strength, pushing it into that ball. That thing is flying off of her hand.
Boy, both, you talk about newcomers, her, Van Zandt. There's really a lot of reasons why Hawkeyes have to feel positive moving forward. They have a handful of more matches before they'll end up in Big Ten play, starting it off against Maryland in a few weeks. Next week, taking on Southeastern Missouri, Murray State, and Weber State. 6 left in the non-conference. Varis is serving here. Hawkeyes trying to get to set point here in set 2. They can win this one. Once again, another response for Caitlin Burke.
And you're talking a little bit about what's coming up for the Hawkeyes. Well, that's going to be Big Ten play soon, and that's what truly matters in a season. That's where it's kind of defined. But having these games like this one against the Ramblers, so important to test what your team is made of.
Oh, man. Another point for Iowa. And a massive swing. It's a set point for the Iowa Hawkeyes, 24-23. That was Hannah Whittingstall. Fans getting on their feet here. 24-23 for the second straight set.
And this is what hard hitting will get you. It'll get those fans involved. It will give you that home court at Van Zandt. And you got one of the players that's really been sticking out. You got Vares out there. You know, she's coming up off the bench and making a big statement.
Stepanidis is serving too.
Gotta get this one. Good serve.
Van Zandt. Here's Falk. Melee is denied. And point Loyola.
Hawkeyes think it landed in. A big one for Loyola. Oh, that angle looks quite like it's on the line.
Well, a challenge here on set point. At the moment, it's 24-all. It would be a Loyola Chicago point. So, they'll review this.
I mean, the importance of this is, it's quite obvious. I mean, if this goes the Hawkeye way, it's 2-0.
And it would be 12 straight sets, 1 in a row for Iowa, which is incredible.
Yeah. And if not, we've seen the Ramblers, they just need to get those 2 points when they're on the attack. And they've come so close so far in this game. To even it up set-wise would be massive. It's a big confidence boost. Zoom in there. Oh, kind of looked like it caught the outside of the line, I think.
Wonder what angle they're getting as well, of course.
It's true. And my view here is it covers up all the white. You can't really see much white of that line, so I think it hits line. Would be in. But of course, we're kind of looking down at an angle. They might have a camera they probably have a camera, I'm guessing, that is right down the line. Makes it a little easier.
The ball was in, and Iowa wins set number 2 by an inch.
And you can see it. Haspel, of course, kick it off. Back-to-back Final Four appearances, going to places where they really haven't been too often. Then women's soccer last year did that. Now it's the volleyball team's turn. Looking to continue to bring women's sports here in Iowa to an even higher level than it is.
That's a really good point. I think beyond just, we talk about just one match here. The bigger picture is the trend upward and really just the excellence both academically and then, of course, also on the field of play, not only for volleyball but a number of other sports here. And for Loyola Chicago, they themselves coming off that NCAA tournament appearance last year, had a really strong couple runs here over the last few years.
Yeah, they're basically the Hawkeyes, but maybe 3 or 4 years in the future. Where they were last year, I was trying to get to that point, and they're going to have to do it a similar way that Loyola did, which was upset a couple of teams that have been prominent in NCAA volleyball in recent years. And Iowa in the tough Big Ten, they're going to have a little more leeway than the Ramblers did, but it is still going to be tough to knock off some of these teams. But if they do, that's huge for the resume when it comes tournament time.
Early lead 2-1 for Iowa. And if you're thinking about continuing to follow the Hawkeyes as well as Loyola Chicago, kind of interesting. So Loyola's going to, they'll head bus back after the game to Chicago, 3.5 hours away, 4 with a stop. That one goes long. They're actually, Loyola Chicago, they're going to be in Chicago for basically the next 2 weeks. They don't have to go anywhere because they have the Loyola tournament, Loyola Invitational next week, and then the Chicago Cup after that. So they don't have to go anywhere until basically October, end of September. They go to New York City to play Fordham in the Bronx. For Iowa next week, they're, of course, on the road going to Cape Girardeau in Missouri for a couple big matches against Southeastern Missouri, Murray State, Weber State. And then the Hawks are back at home for the Cyhawk series here, their next home game on September 17th.
It'll be a big one for this series, tied up 1-1. Hawkeye women's soccer getting the victory. Football, of course, taking the loss today. So volleyball will be the deciding factor here in the fall sports.
If it's a winning day or not, as Hannah Whittingstall trying to ensure that ties it right back up at 3. Stat comparisons real quick for Whittingstall. Yet another kill, her 6th. Carmel Vares leading the way with 10 kills, also has a block. And for Loyola Chicago, Caitlin Burke and Lena Nguyen, beg your pardon, as expected, have been the stars. Burke 9 kills, Lynn 7 kills. And don't forget for the Hawkeyes, number 4, Iverson-Ammeraal, 21 assists. if she doesn't get 20 assists in a game, it's a rarity. They make it all 3 games here of the Quick Start Classic where she's been 20 plus.
Yeah, she's phenomenal. I mean, she's so good at just commanding this offense. And, I mean, her having the year she did by the end of it last year really helped, I think, the entire team moving forward. It gave Jim Barnes an idea of what he needed to make this team successful. And you're kind of building around Ammeraal. She needs those outside hitters who can really hit the ball because she's going to tee it up perfectly for them almost every time. So if you can get those big arms, and that's what Barnes has now, especially in Van Zandt. I mean, she's been phenomenal.
Here's Jay Fitting to serve. Quick little step into it. Ammeraal races over for Van Zandt. And a point for the Hawks.
And that's exactly what I was saying. If Ammeraal can get those players on the outside who can really swing like Van Zandt, it makes this offense flow so much smoother. And right there, getting a big point to tie it back up at 4.
Loyola sticking with it. They've shown good fight throughout the matches. We've said there's Avery DeBleek, number 15. For DeBleek, 38 kills, entering 3rd on the team from Wildwood, Missouri.
They're hanging right in there, and it seems to me, even though they don't have quite as deep as a lineup, they have a lot of energy out there, and they have really, I wonder if they've motivated themselves a little bit, saying that they're going to be the first loss the Hawkeyes take on their home court. And they got a lot of work to get to it, but they have proved that they can play right there. They have been just there on all of these sets so far. And right here, they're hanging with them, and just a couple of plays away from winning.
Sound like a broken record. Boy, did you just see that Van Zandt replay as he goes at it again. One-handed finish. Charnay Van Zandt has been an absolute MVP-like candidate today for Iowa.
Yeah, she's been phenomenal. That last one, too, kind of changed it up on him. She's not swinging out of the park from this one. She's going more for location, and that's exactly what they needed there.
Moisia. Here's Fares. Oh yeah! Carmel Fares with authority.
I mean, to have this group of outside hitters, this stable of outside hitters who can just hit it out of the park when they need. I mean, you got Van Zandt dominating here early, then you go over to the other side and it's Fares, and they just can't touch it.
Ramblers respond with Ava Hunter. 7-6 Iowa here in the 3rd set. Of course, the first game here on the day in the Quick Start Classic was absolutely excellent, nearly a reverse sweep, but it was Illinois State staving off the resilient Butler Bulldogs. Hawkeyes trying to avoid any of that talk here today.
Yeah, and maybe this thing goes 5 like the last one, but I don't think we'll see a set quite like set number 2 in that one.
At the previous
yeah,
match.
In the previous match between Illinois State and Butler, I mean, that was, I think, the highest scoring match I've seen in volleyball. It was 34-32, the longest match that I've seen in person, for sure.
Nearly 3 hours as far as spikes it a little bit far. Another point for Loyola Chicago. That's just their biggest lead, 9-7. Guys will look to right the ship here. Very long from the win. Point for the Hawks.
Yeah, I think the difference and the reason maybe why the Hawkeyes have won the first 2 is when these teams get out of position, when they're receiving, the Hawkeyes have an easier time of resetting, and that's all due in part to Claire Ammeraal. But the Ramblers, they get a little bit out of control. That time a cross-court path. There's a lot of spin on that ball for their hitters, and it makes it much harder for someone like Nguyen to get a clean hit on.
Cameraman also almost got it courtside there.
Wow.
Great teamwork. but polished off by Anne-Marie Remis. And she was second team all A10. Let's see if Loyola Chicago can extend to their first 3-point lead of the match. And that's been a big difference too. Talk about the organization. This is a flex point here. You're going to be up by 3 or 1. Loyola Chicago looking to extend their lead in set 3.
It's typically been the Ramblers chasing. Now the Hawkeyes are chasing, and there we go. The Ramblers getting after it here in set 3.
The only school in all of Division I to be nicknamed Ramblers. Stepanitis. A little bit far, but it did catch a hand. Point for Iowa. So it's 11-9. It was tough to see initially, and a little bit of a late signal, but it was touched up there at the net front, I think, off of Remis, the outside hitter.
Yeah, no challenge coming from Loyola. They believe it.
Oh, that one sunk into the back line. Ace. Moisio. Oh, yeah.
That's a beautiful floater right there. It hangs up high enough where you think it's going to go out, but the lack of spin on it brings it down, and it hits right in front of that line. Beautiful.
Another one. Moisio, the former Miami Hurricane. There's no rotation on that.
I mean, this is what the Hawkeyes need. They need someone who can step into that role and serve just lights out. And that's what she's a back-to-back aces. She had 13 aces last year for the Hurricanes, and now she's bringing some of that up there to the Hawkeyes.
Remis putting the power on that one. Just outside the Windy City, Lyle, Illinois, played at the famous Bennett Academy. Her high school team, talking about number 8, Anne-Marie Remis, Bennett Academy, they went 41-1 one year. She was on the team a few years ago.
I mean, that is unreal. All those games, and you only lose once. And she knows how to win, and she's shown that. 1 point off for Remis, and she's back out there. They're going to need her to make it. Oh, actually, she's coming back to the bench. But that's the leadership from Remis. I mean, she knows how to win. She was on a big part of the team last year. And that leadership is going to be key when you get in the conference play, when they try and defend their A10 title.
That is a point for Iowa. It sailed a little bit too far to the right line, and perhaps a thought of a challenge from Amanda Berkeley, but she'll pass on it.
Yeah,
13-12 Iowa.
Her players were trying to convince her to challenge, and Berkeley's just shaking her head no.
Hannah Winningstall getting involved at the block on the net. Wow! Winningstall. Oh, baby.
She blocked that with some authority right back into the face of the Rambler there. I mean, that's a big one for the Hawkeyes. Gives them a 2-point lead.
3-0 scoring run for Iowa. Nguyen doesn't have the shooter's touch on that one. A little bit short. 15-12 Iowa. Make it a 4-0 run. Make it a timeout for Loyola Chicago.
The schedule you wanna have for yourself in the non-con. I mean, it's not necessarily gonna ruin your chances if you lose to teams in that Power 4 now. But it's gonna be a big test, and it's gonna allow them to get really good reps against great teams.
Here's Stepanitis, and she has got it. Ellie Stepanitis, the outside hitter, just plushes it over the net instead of going with the big swing.
Yeah, Bruckner almost chased it down for the Ramblers, just didn't get enough underneath the ball. A big one for the Hawkeyes there. You know, we were talking about the Ramblers not having a lot of opportunities to go up 2-3 points. Well, they got to that point, and then Iowa has just taken over this ball game.
And we do have a stoppage here. I think a challenge is upcoming. And it is a challenge from Loyola Chicago.
He's got his little sheet up there, the ref does. It looks like he's got a couple of them, so make sure he's got the right outcome on the replays, on like what exactly they're looking at. Because the coaches, I mean, a big job of it is saying the right part that needs challenged.
I wonder, perhaps looking to see if there was a violation at the net. Maybe one of the Iowa players touched the net. You could see it shake just a little bit, but tough to tell whether it's the camera moving quickly. So we'll just wait to hear from the referee whether or not this is an attack violation on Iowa. And it right now sits at a 4-point Hawkeye lead here in the third set. Hawkeyes winning, are on a 5-0 run, and they've won each of the first 2 sets by a 25-23 score.
I mean, looking here, it doesn't look like Whittingstall catches much of the net, if any.
That's actually a really good point.
Maybe
because the
forearm.
ball,
Or the ball, yeah, the ball's moving the net.
I think that's what caused the net to move, at least at first. And I think that's what they're looking at the end of the day. So here we have the end of the review. Official will inform some of our off-court officials on what he's about to determine. And here we go. The call stands, point for the Iowa Hawkeyes, 16-12. No net violation on Iowa, and that looks to be the right call looking at that replay.
Yeah, definitely. But I don't hate the challenge there. I mean, it would have been a big swing, kind of keeping it within a couple possessions for the Ramblers if you are successful and not. I mean, you're in this 4-point hole. At this point, it is on the players, on their toughness, on their competitiveness to get back into this one. They really gotta grind it out here.
That one is down. And yet another point off the arm and hands of Whittingstall. 17-12, and another timeout coming for Loyola Chicago. Hawkeyes are starting to get on a dominant run. 6-0 after Loyola Chicago challenges there. And then, of course, the big Cy-Hawk rivalry game on September 17th.
Yeah, they definitely got their eyes on that Iowa State game, but, some good tune-up matches. And, I mean, if you're the Hawkeyes, you can't really slip up down there. You want to make sure you keep this streak alive if they're able to pull it out today.
Burke got denied. Second try for Burke. Oh, what a save. Moiseo out of nowhere. Stepanitis, it's still free. Burke finishes it off.
Just digging deep by the Ramblers. I mean, heart's throwing her body on the line, crashing into the padding over there, gets back up, and able to return the hit from the Hawkeyes, and then the Ramblers finishing it off there. That's a big get for them. I mean, they need to string together a couple of points, and you can't really have any empty possessions now. When you're serving, you gotta at least get 1 or 2 extra.
Ava Hunter's serve did not drop in. Hunter, the Fishers, Indiana native, went to school in Fishers, high school in Fishers, which is just north of Indianapolis.
She was a star high school athlete. All region, 110 aces that time, just losing a little bit.
Hunter had over 2,000 assists in high school. That is ridiculous at Hamilton Southeastern. Of course, so many of these places, you're playing Division I volleyball. You're pretty good. And I just love looking at, no matter what the sport, the stats for the biggest of the stars in high school because they're insane. Sharday Van Zandt has been a strong contributor at the collegiate level, and she'll finish off another one with the kill. Hawkeyes back up by 5.
Big one to get back, but oh yeah, I mean, I think the most interesting part to me, especially at this D1 level, is all these athletes, yeah, they're exceptional at that sport. We know that. But you know what? They're really good at the other sports they compete at in high school. And that's a big point, especially in this time where I feel like youth sports has really become the tunnel vision. You're almost encouraged now to lock in onto one sport, but I mean, you look in the pros.
Alexandra Stojanovic, she had 10 kills. This has just been a balanced weekend of Hawkeye volleyball.
And that's what the Hawks are turning into, a deep team who can really play and play consistently.
Oh, Van Zandt almost had some trickery. That was a curveball off the side of her right wrist.
She almost had that one. Just missed it a little bit, but that looked nice coming off the hand. Just not enough forward action on the ball to get a point for the Hawkeyes.
That would have been the definition of home court advantage had that one gone over off for the net. Nguyen, haven't called her name in a while. And Nguyen leading the team in kills for the Ramblers. Entering. Falk. Bailey will get the point for Loyola into the third row.
That's what the Ramblers needed. They've had a tough time on offense in this third set. I mean, you look back at the first two, they're hitting at about 27.5%. This set, up to 8% now, but before they got that point, they were down below 6% on that attack percentage. They just have not been finding the floor as often as they were earlier, and I mean, you've got to shout out this Hawkeye defense that has came out. They're stopping all of these runs from the Ramblers. Any time a big hit happens from it, it seems like there's a Hawkeye right there ready to dig it out.
Getting late early for Loyola Chicago here as Iverson-Ammeraal just got the kill. Bailey not as punishing of a delivery. Van Zandt will not do it either, and that is a returning block from Loyola Chicago. 21-17 Iowa. And Maley will serve. Maley jumps and delivers. Reception Iowa. Ammeraal. Take over to Stojanovic, and it's Deary. Point for Iowa. I think a Rambler may have touched the net. 22-17. Challenge upcoming, though. Let's get another look. Quick look at the replay. And Berkeley wants a second look. Loyola will challenge that there was not a net fault. So really what's going to tell the story is that side angle, one of the two side angle cameras that they have perched here at Extreme Arena.
You got to think for those refs right on top of the net, like it's got to be fairly easy to see when that net's moving. I mean, their eyes are right down it most of the time. Quick call.
Well, let's see what the termination will be. Point for Iowa. So the call on the court stands. 22-17. Hawkeyes.
They have an opportunity here to really wrap this one up, put a little bow on it, and call it win number 6. Just need a couple more points. And just got to play clean. You can't get too ahead of yourself. You don't want to allow the Ramblers to get some momentum, get some hope back on their side. This is a Hawkeye team. They've been in this position a lot the past couple of days, not losing. And it looks like they're not. They're going to try not to stop that streak now.
The Iowa Hawkeyes up by 6 in the third set. They're 2 points away. Anne-Marie Remis for Loyola trying to keep her gals involved. One of the leaders, the senior middle blocker. Here's Van Zandt. Jumps, serves, received by Loyola. Nguyen, denied initially. Nguyen, no again. They've hit the head there of Stojanovic. It's still free. Stepanitis. Oh man, what defense.
This front line of the Hawkeyes is not letting anything through.
Match point upcoming. Gabby Deary gets the big hug. The bench is fired up for Deary. The junior outside hitter, the Burlington, Iowa native. 24-17, and these fans can feel it. Nearly every one of them is on their feet here at Extreme Arena. Sharday Van Zandt will waste no time.
Giving these athletes all smiles except for Van Zandt. Stone cold killer back there, the serve.
Nguyen off the net. Scramble. Nguyen. Yes. Lena Nguyen, the freshman, says not so fast. And she'll serve it here after delivering that point. 24-18.
Quite literally no room for error here for the Ramblers. I mean, Nguyen, she's got to be thinking above everything else. Extend the game. You can't serve it out. You got to place it in there no matter what.
Gabby Deary. I'm still going. Deary again. Nguyen. She killed it long. Hawks win.